Hey guys, this is Justin with Boreas Campers, and today we're going to go over how to find an off-grid campsite. This video is mainly for new owners who don't have any experience finding a campsite outside of a regular campground. There's a lot of different resources, there's a million ways to do it, but hopefully I can show you a few different ways to make finding a campsite a lot easier and use your camper to the fullest. So let's jump into it. Alrighty guys, I want to go over a few terms that will help you to find a dispersed campsite. Mainly, when you're looking for a campsite outside of a campground, you're looking in public land. And there's two main entities that offer the most options when it comes to finding a dispersed campsite. The first one being the National Forest. This is the Forest Service USDA.gov. This is their interactive map. I will include a link for this in the description of the video. When you zoom out, you'll kind of have the whole United States. All the areas in green are national forest. For the most part, it's free to camp inside any of these areas, and you'll likely find a lot of good options inside of these boundaries. The second option for camping off-grid is the Bureau of Land Management. This is essentially the same kind of interactive map, but just on the BLM website. I will also include a link to this in the video. So anything that's labeled in yellow is Bureau of Land Management. We will dive deep into both of these options and decipher where a good campsite is it accessible by road, how difficult is the road, and yeah, hopefully get you in some really cool spots around the country. Now I want to start with the most basic and rudimentary way of finding a campsite. There are two main resources that I use. All right, one of those main resources is the DYRT. That's the dyrt.com. It is a multifunctional website for finding camping spots because it allows you to book campsites at established campgrounds and also find dispersed camping to a limited level. We're going to go ahead and type in somewhere local to us, which is going to be Buena Vista, Colorado. Go ahead and do that. If you wanted to book a campground where you have to pay, I would put in the dates, but since we're trying to find an off-grid campsite somewhere free, we're just going to skip the dates. I'll go ahead and jump in here. The reason I chose Buena Vista is it's kind of local to us, so I know the area a little bit, but it's a cool spot. It's a nice little mountain town. There's plenty to do out here. Lots of camping options. There's hot springs, there's year-round mountain biking, trails to hike, that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good home base to jump outside of. Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, one of the first things I want to go over when you're looking for a campsite, and this goes across all platforms, is you typically have an option somewhere on the map to change it to the satellite version. As you can see, it's a little bit easier to tell what is what when you're looking at the map. This is flat land, this is kind of more foothilly, these are definitely high altitude alpine mountains, and then you get into kind of more foresty areas. When you have it on default, you can kind of tell it's difficult to decipher what is what. When you pick any of these campsites, you'll kind of want to know what your surroundings look like. So I prefer to go satellite all the way. There are filters on the DYRT. We're going to go ahead and look at them. Instant book and request to book are established campsites, probably typically what you're used to when you're looking for a campground, something like a KOA or your local pay campsite where they have bathrooms, showers, activities, sometimes mini golf or a pool or something like that. That's more what those two options are. The next one is established, the one in green. That just means that it's probably on public land, it's on national forest or BLM, but it's first come, first serve, and you will probably have to pay for that spot. Typically, those will probably be a little cheaper, between $7 and $20 at campsites, depending on where you're at. And then the last option is dispersed. We're going to go ahead and check that option because that's what we're looking for. Go ahead and hit view results. And that'll take us to only dispersed spots. I will say that on the dirt, they do have a pro version where you can have access to a lot more free spots. But for us in this example, we're just going to stick with what they have available. We'll go to more resources here in a minute. That will be easier to navigate finding free spots. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of this. So here is the town. I think we'll do something close just to make it easy. This one looks kind of cool. So when you get on here, you can see the reviews and typically a picture of the campsite. So this looks like a nice flat rolling hill. You can kind of look down into the valley. The mountains are in the background, but there is only one review, so that's not necessarily enough to base a good campsite off of. It's typically like something with a few more. That's 2. All right, let's check over here. North Cottonwood Trailhead. All right, so nice and foresty. Looks like some aspens. 7 reviews, all good reviews. So this is definitely more what we're looking for. So typically at your dispersed campsites, there's no bathrooms, there's no facilities. It's basically you pull into the spot and hopefully there's some availability there. So it looks like these reviews are pretty good. The pictures look good. This would definitely be something I would look into. Now we're going to click on the location. It'll give you the coordinates. You can open it in Google Maps. And bam, so it looks like it's just before this trailhead on here. Again, let's change it to satellite just so we can see what we're working with here. Yep, definitely foresty, definitely nice. I'll back up. And what's great about Google Maps always is you can just hit directions. We'll say Pueblo. And from where we're at, it's about 2 hours and 43 minutes. It'll take you right to that spot. Jump out of here. This was a pretty decent find, but again, they kind of want you to pay to play with the dirt. I know for sure that this is all public land over here, and this is all public land over here. I'm definitely not showing you all the spots that you have available to you, but it's still a good resource for beginners just to find something close and in the area of where you're looking. The next resource I like to use and I grew up using was FreeCampSites.net. I will also put the link of this in the description of the video. Nice is you can just put in your destination, Buena Vista, Colorado. Boom. Okay, so their layer function is up here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit satellite again. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and zoom in. There's the town of Buena Vista. Kind of click on a few of these. 3.5 stars. 3 stars. 4 stars. Only 1 review. This one has 5 reviews, so let's go ahead and click on that one. This is a little bit more basic. It's not as flashy. They'll give you the coordinates straight up, and you can also hit the Get Directions button, which will take you to the Google Map version, and you can type in your directions from your location from there. Jump out of here. It will also give you the weather for the next 5 days, which is nice. The activities you can do around there, and you can read the reviews. Most of these look pretty good. They also get to show you the cell phone service based on your carrier in this area. I think at the top, yep, right here, you can see the availability if you happen to need cell service while you're camping. You can just go ahead and read through these and decide if it's a good spot. The pictures are more available than the dirt, so this looks pretty nice. It's nice and flat. You got some cool rock features, the mountains in the background. I think this is a pretty good spot. But again, as I jump back here, I know that all this is public land and all this is public land. They're still limiting the amount of campsites that you're able to see. I'm going to go ahead and jump from the beginner portion of this to the intermediate portion, which is using other resources and kind of using more visual campsite finding via map services to help you find a campsite. In the beginning, I talked about using the Forest Service maps and the BLM maps. When you jump in here on the Forest Service website, we're going to go ahead and hit Buena Vista. It'll take us to the town. Okay, so now you can kind of see, based on these boundaries, that pretty much everything north and east of town is available and public. Also, you can get to the west of town, you can zoom out even more. It all depends on what you want to see when you're going camping. If you want to go to a certain lake or a certain river and go fishing, if there's some mountain bike trails you want to go to, you can try and find camp spots that are closer to your activities and closer to your destination. As you can see, these are all roads back here that you can access with your vehicle. There is a legend that will let you know what kind of roads they are. So it looks like roads not maintained for passenger cars, which is typically what we look for with people using our trailers, because the trailer will get you pretty much anywhere as long as your vehicle can handle it. So the more off-road, the better, the less people, and the more secluded you'll be in your camping experience. I don't necessarily want to go super difficult, but at least try to make it a little moderate and a little bit off the highway. As we jump into the BLM website, you can also go in here. Unfortunately, the BLM website doesn't have a satellite view when it comes to the layers, but you'll have to just deal with this, but at least they have a little bit more topography and you can kind of see everything here. Here is Buena Vista right here. There's the town, and you can again see everything north and east of town is all BLM. They'll give you the roads that you can access as well, a little bit about it. Usually they'll give you if trails are closed certain times a year. As you can see, there's not a lot of BLM in this area. I will say that the BLM website is a lot better for areas like Utah, Nevada. You can definitely tell that there's a lot more BLM areas than there are national forests. Even though it's not great for this example, I would still use this in the future if you're planning on visiting those more western states, parts of Wyoming, a lot of Idaho, and it looks like Oregon. There's a lot of BLM. Even though it's not great for this, I wouldn't count it out. Alrighty. Now that we have our defined areas of what's public land, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our next resource, which is the Colorado Hunting Atlas. If you just Google Colorado Hunt Atlas, go ahead and jump on there. Obviously, this is only for Colorado, and I will show you how this works great for people that live in the state of Colorado or are looking for something in Colorado, but I guarantee that every Western state has some sort of version of this. You just go on your Parks and Wildlife website or your Department of Natural Resources, and they will have an interactive map that usually has something like this. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck a few things. I don't need wildfires. I do need the BLM roads, and I also need the motor vehicle use map. And then again, we're going to switch our base map to a satellite. Cool. We can again type in our destination, Buena Vista. Cool, that'll take us there. Now, what's cool about these Hunt Atlas or similar version for your state is they have both National Forest and the BLM together. So that way you don't have to go back and forth between the two websites. Where one ends, the other begins. You can just go here and you'll be able to find, like, I can see that I can take off out of town, take this road, go through this BLM road into this National Forest road, and then I'm allowed to kind of jump around in here wherever I want. So I'll kind of take a snapshot of what the roads look like and get a good lay of the land. There's not a lot of private property over here. There's this little chunk over here and this little chunk over here, but for the most part, it's pretty wide open. That will bring me to my last resource and my favorite resource, which is Google Earth. Google Earth you can get just go to your browser, type in Google Earth. There's a online version and there's also a downloadable version for your desktop, and there's an app for your phone as well. This would be the most fun way to find an off-grid campsite because these campsites aren't listed on the Dirt or FreeCamp Sites. They're typically more secluded and a little bit more adventurous, which I think is what we're looking for when we find an off-grid campsite. Like I said, we took a little snapshot of this area north and east of town. The roads look very similar. Jump in here, yep, and get this little loop here. That's that loop right there. From where we take off into town and get into public land, we can follow these roads and we can visually find pull-offs and areas for campsites. As you can see, there's a lot of easy stuff right off the road here. There's already some camp sites that people have taken. See other campers. That one looks pretty big, a bunch of cars there. Because this is close to town, it's pretty busy. But we can follow this up here and go a little deeper down these roads and find something even better. So this particular spot here, even though it's right off the road, this was a spot we did for one of our photo shoots a few years back. This photo here was actually taken right at that spot. There you kind of get a view of it. It was wicked cold. It was definitely in the negatives on that trip, and we had a diesel truck and we weren't sure it was going to start. We wanted to be a little bit closer to town in case things went awry, but it was a good winter camp for us, and we got some great shots, and obviously you can see it's a great view. Had a cool sunset. I would definitely come back to this area. As we go down this road and get a little deeper, you can start looking for other little areas. So it looks like there's a cool little pull off here. What helps is you can kind of see the topography with Google Earth. You'll be up on this hill looking down probably this way, and your view will be to the east. As you come up on some of these spots over here, there's a good one. There's a little pull off here that goes all the way down to this edge. And kind of sit up on this point and use your eye cursor, get an idea of what your view is going to look like. We'll jump in right where that spot is. Boom. So that probably has a great view where this is at. I would definitely, let's go ahead and make a place mark here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. Go ahead and double click your north so that you're oriented. We'll make a place mark, which is this little thing here. Call it camping spot. Okay, cool. Now, go here, right click, directions to here. It will give me the coordinates, which I can punch in and put your destination. And voila. It will get us to that spot. So what's nice is you can take those coordinates and put them in Google Maps, put them in Apple Maps, put them in your GPS unit. There's a million different ways to punch in coordinates and get you to your destination. And what I would do, especially being public land, is scope around here. Even though this is a great spot, probably just keep kind of moving around and get 2 or 3 good spots that you can find. So that way, if somebody happens to be in your spot, which does happen often, that you have another place to go. So it looks like there's another spot right here, which is cool. Let's see, we got a couple more over here. Yeah, the couple spots over here, you can place mark all these. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's plenty of spots over here. So this is a pretty plentiful area, and you can hopefully get some space from other campers. And the last thing I will mention about Google Earth is it does have a really cool photos function. You can go over here and you can hit the photos layer on here, and it will show you different photos that people have taken around here. Let's good view photo. Zoom in here. That's a pretty cool road. You're between a few rocks there. If you've never been to an area, you can just kind of poke around. I know that there's a little arch over here, granite arch, called Aspen Arch. I'll click on these. If you didn't click on this photo, you might not know this is there, but this is a pretty cool hike. It's really cool for finding stuff to do around your camp area if you don't necessarily have a plan on what you're going to do when you're out there. Lastly, I'm going to go over a few paid options for finding campsites and kind of navigating public lands. First one is OnX Off-Road. This will be on your phone. You can also use it on your desktop, but it'll show you public land. It'll give you all the public access roads in places that you're looking, and it will show you the difficulty of the road, which is nice. If you want to get a little bit farther away from people, away from those car campers and the van camping people, then you can go to more intermediate roads and stay away from the easy roads. It'll also keep you away from more difficult roads that might get you in trouble with your camper if you're not experienced. It'll also help you avoid those difficult situations. And then the other option, I haven't really used it, but I know a lot of people that do, is Gaia GPS. It basically does all the same stuff as OnX, but there's a few more features. They'll give you the weather in your area and put down place marks. You can get directions to all these places. It'll show you the difficulty of the roads. Basically the same as OnX, but I just wanted to give you a second option. And again, those are pay to play. And anyway, I think that concludes this video. Thanks for watching and sticking through to the end. I will do another video in the future on advanced campsite finding for those who already have some experience finding off-grid campsites and how to find those real deep backwoods spots where you definitely won't see anybody and you'll definitely get all the seclusion you need. Again, thanks for watching. Hopefully it was informative, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.